The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos.
The Sabbath is a beautiful gift that God gave the Jewish people and the entire world through the Jewish people. As our Master Yeshua the Messiah has said, the Sabbath was made for man. Unlike other religions, Judaism does not have a day of worship. In other words, one day of the week on which religious services are held. In Judaism, every day is a day of worship, and synagogues hold services morning and evening each day of the week. The Sabbath is a day of rest and holiness, and the Sabbath is observed not just for a couple hours on Saturday morning, but the entire rotation of the earth from when the sun drops below the western horizon on Friday evening until the last glow of light fades on Saturday night. This entire time is set apart as sacred, blessed by the Creator, on which we rest from our creative activities just as God did with His. We have a commandment to sanctify the Sabbath, that is, make it holy. The verse says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." The essence of holiness is distinction, so we sanctify the Sabbath by marking it with clear boundaries. That's why the ancient Jewish sages felt that it was necessary to declare the holiness of the Sabbath through reciting Kiddush, a prayer of sanctification, on Friday evening when the day begins. But something still bothered the sages about this. The verse does not simply say, "Remember the Sabbath," but it says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." Certainly, if the night of the Sabbath is to be sanctified, then how much more so the daytime? Thus, they instituted a custom of a brief Kiddush blessing along with the daytime Sabbath meal, called Kiddusha Rabba, which means the great Kiddush, or the great sanctification. While they acknowledged that reciting the morning Kiddush is not a biblical commandment, it does serve an important biblical function. While we sit together enjoying our meal, we must remember that the meal is sacred, and it's for the purpose of calling the Sabbath a delight. After the morning prayers on Saturday, we have a meal. Synagogues will often provide some cake and coffee or other basics and have a brief Kiddusha Rabba there. But typically people then head home or to the home of a family that lives near the synagogue and recite Kiddusha Rabba and eat a full meal there. The basics of Kiddusha Rabba are really quite simple. First of all, we make sure to have a cup of wine and 2 loaves of challah. We cover the challah just as on Friday night and recite the blessing over the wine first. Unlike Friday night, however, the basic blessing for Kiddusha Rabba is very short. The only essential element is the blessing Borei Peri Hagafen, who creates the fruit of the vine. There are also other readings from Scripture that are often recited, which are wonderful, and they help focus our minds and hearts on the sanctity of the Sabbath, but they're not absolutely necessary. Like Friday evening, we bring the blessing over wine, a symbol of blessing and joy, to the front of the meal, even ahead of the bread that we would normally eat first. Gathering to do so in a formal and intentional way imbues our meal with sanctity and transforms our meal from a mundane animalistic experience to a spiritual act of worship. After setting the tone with the Kiddush blessing, we infuse the entire meal with holiness by singing Shabbat songs called Zmirot and by speaking words of Torah to one another. Remember the Sabbath day, not just the Sabbath night, in your home and in your community, with the simple act of Kiddusha Rabba. As the book of Isaiah promises in one of the scriptural passages that we read before Kiddusha Rabba, if you hold back your feet on account of the Sabbath, from doing whatever you please on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and call the Holy One of the Lord honored. If you honor it by not making your own way, seeking whatever you please, or speaking inappropriately, then you will delight in the Lord, and I will let you ride upon the heights of the earth, and I will feed you with the inheritance of your father Jacob, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Shabbat Shalom.
The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. I am also waiting to sing this song of Shabbos. I am also waiting to sing this song of Shabbos. The world is waiting, it's waiting to sing.